Welcome to the Horror Hangout podcast where film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time and talk about them. My name is Ben Errington, and today I'm joined by a very special returning guest. She's back again. Rupa Shikotra is a teen slasher enthusiast, Scream superfan, and former Bollywood journalist. Welcome back to the show, Rupa. Hello.
Hello, Ben.
Oh, a very sultry Valentine's Day themed voice.
Yes, hence the heart.
Hence the hearts in the background.
Yeah,
If you're listening to this audio version, you'll just have to imagine the hearts.
imagine
You're
the
su- you're
heart.
surrounded by hearts, and also the I know what you did last summer poster.
Yeah, there's Ryan Philippi there.
Oh yeah,
What's her
there
name
he is.
again? Jennifer. Love you away.
Jen- Jennifer loves huge tits. That's what I always used to say anyway.
I was going to use the picture. The is it? Does she want to say? What are you waiting? Is it what are you waiting for? Or
What
what
are
do you
you
want?
waiting for?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to know a lovely fact about that? And I always bring a fact up about this whenever that is mentioned, that particular scene. That particular scene, which is like one of the most famous scenes in that film, everyone remembers it, was directed by someone who won a competition to direct a scene in a film.
And
And they
it's the most
directed,
iconic scene.
yes.
Wow.
And you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure that's correct. I definitely have heard
We'll
that.
make it correct. It's fine.
We
For
will make it.
us, for the horror hangout, it's
we
truth. It's
will
fact.
we will make it correct. No Andy Conduit Turner today. We're recording this
No.
ahead of Valentine's Day. So it's not because he's got Valentine's plans and we haven't, but you know. Uh but he's not available, which is persevere, you know. That's what we do. That's what we do on this show.
That's what we do.
But despite the fact we're recording ahead of it, it is Valentine's Day today when this episode goes out. So happy Valentine's Day, Rupa.
Oh, happy Valentine's Day, Ben.
Oh, you said that then with a little bit of pity.
Did I? Sorry, it came out wrong. It was no pity from me. Happy Valentine's Day, Ben. Is
Thank
that
you.
better? Yeah,
Slightly. Thank you very
slightly.
much. Covering a film today, which obviously the right time of year to be discussing this film. And obviously it's a teen slasher, so we thought why not get the teen slasher enthusiast slash expert on the show to talk about it.
Wouldn't say
Although
expert, that's pushing it. Just enthusiast and very specific to an
one
era.
one film, two film. This is that era though, surely, isn't it? The
Yes, it
2001.
is. Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah.
But had you seen it before?
No, because I don't like Angel, also
Oh,
known as I never liked Angel. A big Buffy fan, hence
is it because he
Sarah
treated her
Michelle
so? Is
Gellar.
it because
That's the
he?
reason I watched I Know What He Did Last Summer.
Yeah.
Um, and then they go and kill her. And I'm like, oh, I walked out
Is
and
it
I
because did he treat her badly? Angel, do I remember right? Buffy we
he
used to get
just
like
looked like he
elusive.
was 40 and it just didn't and she was a high school student and it was just wrong on so many levels.
Yeah,
Um, I mean in reality, vampire reality was probably 150 years
it
old.
looks like in reality though he was about 30. So he was born in 1969, and obviously like Buffy was what like late 90s through to 2000 or something, and then his spin-off. I never really watched Angel like ever.
I only watched the ones when either Buffy was in it or Faith, because they were the only reasons I watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer in the first place. So,
Yeah,
because it was what was really good. I know we're not here to talk about Buffy and Angel, but
it's still relevant.
it is relevant. What I don't know if it's one of the first, but at least in that time for me growing up, where they would do, I can't remember what they call it, but so you've got this spin-off where what's happening in the spin-off affects what's happening.
Oh yeah, so it's almost like it's like a crossover, but where the continuity is still relevant to both
Yeah.
shows.
And you only
Yeah.
the penny just drops if you watch both. The penny drops. You have to kind of watch them in parallel to understand why. Like so, Willow was not there, for example, at one point. It's because she was on an episode of Angel, and then when you watch the episode of Angel, it kind of falls into
Yeah.
place. I kind of liked that. That was because you're talking 90s, right? So as
It's
much
just them
as
trying
all
to
this,
con you into watching the other show, isn't it, really? I mean,
it
it's basically
is.
the equivalent of like a Marvel Cinematic Universe. So obviously, The Marvels I watched recently,
Yeah.
but if you didn't watch Miss Marvel, like you're kind of missing um
Info.
info. So it's trying
Yeah.
to make you go and watch those other things, which is fine, but it can be frustrating. Because I didn't really have any interest in Angel as a character. I kind of just wanted more Buffy adventures. But yeah,
Yeah.
but he was like 30 in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which of course is not old by any means. However,
No.
you're supposed to be frequenting the hanging out with teenagers. A bit could be a bit considered a bit weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe not
Yeah.
in 2001, but definitely now.
Yes, definitely now.
Where you
How did we
going,
get on
30-year-old
to
man?
how did we
Sorry,
get
go on.
on to Buffy? Oh, I
Talking
don't even
about
know. Angel.
talking about star of this very film, Valentine. So you've not seen it before. I'd seen it years ago,
Yeah.
and I think I said like maybe like a DVD rental or video or VHS rental scenario. I remember thinking it was all right. I watched it
Yeah.
again in 2020, um, and like my comments when I watched it then weren't that great. And I think some stuff still sticks from that time I watched it 4 years ago. The main point saying I was like I hate every character. That's what I said
Yeah, I think
4 years
because
ago.
I rush watched it for this. And I think so the opening scene, if you can remember it, I was like, well, she can't be the final girl because why is she in this first scene and or first um part of the film? But she wasn't blonde, and it was I was thought, oh, are they doing something new here or what? And then that the final girl is blonde
Mm.
is maybe for that time quite new. I don't know. But I feel like because I do remember when it was being promoted at the time, and it was all about David Boreanaz, however we say his name,
Mm.
and it just felt like it's going to be him.
Yeah.
It's
If
got
you
to
look
be
at
him, or he's working with someone.
what's weird about the poster, and again for audio people, we'll just have to describe it. Denise Richards is very prominent in the poster. She's
Yeah,
standing in
well,
front of
obviously.
David Boreanaz. Well, yeah, that's fine. I'm happy with that. This render of the main character, who's played by what's her flavor, Mary Shelton, also in Scream as well. Scream five and no four.
Yes,
Scream 4 and
yes,
then
yes, yes,
Scream
yes, yes.
5, Deputy Judy Hicks, or um, this render of her on this poster behind me. Who's that? That's literally no one in this film.
No,
That is like
so the point at the which
that
one?
one, that that one,
She's the blonde, not the blonde,
the blonde.
the blonde. Isn't
Yeah,
she
I feel like this is terrible for people listening on audio, but there's a
the
render
blonde?
of there's a render on this poster of the main character, and it's been airbrushed so much you can't even see it. Also, like Katherine Heigl is very prominent on the poster. I think they kind of did a Scream thing there where they put someone who's a somewhat of a name, I guess, like Drew Barrymore,
Drew
on the
Barrymore, yeah.
poster. So that when that character got killed, it was more of a shock. And who's the other one? Dorothy. I don't want to say justice for Dorothy because I'm pretty sure I know what happened when Dorothy died. I couldn't stand Dorothy in this film. She doing my head in. She was
Yeah, I think did you like any of the characters?
no, I don't think so. That's the thing. I
It's
think
like I didn't care. I just
I
didn't
think
care.
the only character who has any sort of anything about them is Denise Richards because she's literally chewing the scenery as almost a caricature Denise Richards character where
Yeah,
she's
I guess
like
so, yeah. Yeah.
doing like she's like the man eater, but like she knows exactly when she wants men and when she doesn't want men. You know what? I'm just gonna tie you up and pour hot wax on your balls.
Why not?
Why not? And she's probably got the best death as well. Of course, we will get into all of this. I don't want to spoil anything we're talking about. Um, I'll do a little bit of horror news first. A little
Yeah,
bit of
let's
horror
do it.
news. Fancy a little bit of that.
I
First thing I got to
do.
the first thing I've got to mention is something that's related to this podcast. So I will talk about this. The Terabytes documentary, The Evolution of Horror Gaming. We've had the producer of that documentary, Daniel Richardson, on the show recently as a bonus episode talking about this documentary, but also as a full episode talking about House of the Dead. But Terabytes is now available for pre-order, and if you pre-order it through Horror Hangout, you will get you basically get exclusive access to certain things. So go to the affiliate link that we've been sharing on our social media. And if you're going to make a purchase and you want to support this podcast as well as Terabytes, the documentary, pre-orders close on March the 3rd, so go and do that. But yeah, the link is available on all of our social media now, so go and follow that. We're going to be doing a bit of like a little bit of promotion with alongside it because it's something that we're very interested in. So yeah, go and do that now, not right now, whenever,
I'm
soon. No,
just
don't
gonna do it
forget.
now.
Thank you, Rupa. I
Okay,
appreciate your
done.
support.
Done it.
The other bit of horror news: there's a trailer for the prequel to A Quiet Place. It's called A Quiet Place Day One, and the prequel basically takes place in New York City, and we see what happened when those horrible monsters from A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place Part Two turn up for the first time. It stars Lupita Nyong'o. She's like the lead. It also stars Joseph Quinn from Stranger Things, Alex Wolff from Hereditary. Uh, and yeah, so the trailer looks pretty interesting. Obviously, if you've seen have you seen A Quiet Place, Rupa?
I've seen both. Yeah, yeah,
You've seen both, so you know what the monsters look like and
yeah,
what the rules of the universe are.
yeah.
Um,
I, I, I really like them actually. Not the rules. I like the films. Didn't like the rules so much, but no, yeah, I like them. I like Emily Blunt, so
the
it's.
rules: be quiet, don't make a noise when you're having a baby.
I know, isn't it just
I just kept thinking, this is what I kept thinking about A Quiet Place, right? What if you snore? What if you've got a
don't sleep.
what?
Don't sleep. Don't
Don't
sleep.
sleep. What if
Yeah.
you got a sleep apnea? You're screwed.
Or if you've got a cough,
Or if
then
you got a
let's.
cough. Oh my God, if you got a cough, you're absolutely screwed. Have you ever tried to, like, when you try to stifle a cough,
Oh, makes it so much worse.
it makes it worse. You like choke, you splutter, you nearly die. Um, I'm I'm definitely up for more of this. It's not my favorite thing in the world, A Quiet Place. I don't necessarily love the monster designs. I like the sort of concept. I think the concept is good. And we kind of did see in A Quiet Place Part Two, we did see like a moment when the aliens first arrived, didn't we?
I can't. I don't ask me. I can't remember.
There was like a baseball
Frustrated.
game, and we're with the family, and there was a baseball game, and then it kind of happened, and then they tried to like they hid in a shop or something like that. Yeah,
Oh,
something like that.
can't
So
remember.
we kind of have seen we kind of have seen a prequel of sorts, but this would be interesting. It also looks like Lupita Nyong'o is carrying like a cat around.
Oh no.
Don't know how key the cat is going to be to the story. Um, but it says that the tagline is "Hear how it all began." I'm like, well, don't you don't want to hear how it all began? That's the shh, be quiet.
It's really
Um,
clever.
yeah, but it's in cinemas. It says coming soon. There's no release. Oh no, there is a release date. June
Is it
2024.
is it Emily Blunt's husband? I forget his name. Is he
Oh
making?
yeah, Krasinski. What is his name?
I
Josh
cannot
Krasinski?
remember.
I don't know because
Sounds about right.
I never really watched The Office. John Krasinski. Yeah, he's directing again, I think.
Oh, that's nice to have some consistency there.
I don't know about that. Now I'm reading it. I don't know if he is directing. It says he's producing. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah,
When's that coming
interesting.
out?
June 28th, 2024. It says the movie will make noise in theaters that date. Not too much noise. And the only other bit of news I've got is I don't know if you saw the Predator spin-off. Well, not spin-off, but like standalone movie, Prey.
No,
Well,
was it on it's on Disney Plus, isn't it?
it is on Disney Plus in the
Yeah,
UK.
no,
Yeah, you're
it's on
right.
my list. I've not got to it.
It's good. It's very
Yeah, I
good.
recommend it.
Yeah, we covered it on this show. I think we did. I'm pretty sure we covered it
I'm
on this
dead
show.
sure we have. What don't you cover?
I think we did. I don't think. But Dan Trachtenberg, who directed that, and he also directed 10 Cloverfield Lane, but he is going to be expanding the Predator franchise even further with the upcoming film Badlands, which is essentially another standalone Predator movie. So I guess not in relation to Prey. It's not like linked. It's not like a sequel to that, but it's just a new movie called Badlands. And what are
Okay.
Badlands? Is that like the Wild
Isn't
West?
there, yeah, isn't there there's a series, isn't there, called Badlands?
Is there?
I'm sure there
Oh
is.
no, there's a film called Badlands with Martin Sheen and Sissy Spacek, and that's like
Is it?
I don't know if it is a western actually, but yeah, that'd be interesting. Be cool to see the Predator in different and also in relation to Predator, I think the title for the new Alien film has officially been confirmed as Alien Romulus. I think it was always rumored to be that, but I think for the first time Disney shared something and it had like the title of the film on it. So Alien Romulus is
What's Romulus? What's that?
I think it means isn't it like a king or something? Like some Roman feller. So
Okay.
maybe it's something to do with like you had the queen, you had the alien queen in Aliens. Maybe now that there's a king knocking about, I don't know. Something like that. But they're doing that and I think they're doing like an alien TV show as well at the same time. But the film is
Oh, I'll
directed
be
by
up for the TV show. I think I'm more into TV shows these days anyway.
yeah. But I
Yeah.
think that the film is directed by Fede Alvarez, who directed Evil Dead, the Evil
Okay.
no, just Evil Dead, the 2013 Evil Dead,
Okay.
and and Don't Breathe.
Don't breathe.
Don't bloody breathe, will you? Um, I flew through that, but that is pretty much all I got for news. Nothing at your end that you've seen.
Well, apart from Valentine, it was a whistle stop tour of whistle top.
It was
Um,
a whistle stop store.
I have been drinking. By the way, no, I have. It's orange. So she says. I did watch Haunt on Netflix
Oh yeah, of
because
course.
it
You did say
kept
that, didn't you?
persisting me to watch it. So I thought, okay. I quite was intrigued by the trailer that they had on there.
Let me try and
Um,
remind myself about Haunt because I'm pretty sure I've seen it. Is it like a haunted house thing?
yeah. So
Like
it's yeah. So it's meant to be. Yeah, it is a haunted house, but it's like
oh,
what
like
you
one of
get at
those.
a fairground. It's not.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like a horror house like
yeah.
experience rather than like a
Yes, yeah.
ghost
You're not
show.
allowed to touch the people that are in it. All this.
Yeah, I've
Um,
definitely seen this. It sounds
it's
terrible. I don't
got
remember anything
the
about it.
girl that's in it. She was in. Oh yeah, it's called the bold type. It's nothing to do with horror or slasher.
The bold
Yeah,
type
that's where I
is it
recognize.
to do with typography? Is it a graphic designer film?
Yes, it's all about graphic design, Ben. Everything's about
It's
graphic.
all about the horror of graphic design when somebody says, "Can you please bolden the font?" And you go,
Make it a bit bigger.
"Huh,
Can you make
make the
that
logo
logo a bit
bigger,
bigger, please?
please." In relation to what though? It's pretty tiny on my phone. Can you make it a bit bigger? Get on a bigger screen, then.
Oh, those days are behind me now. Thank goodness that I don't do graphic design. But back to Haunt.
Yeah,
It was okay. Um, I'm trying to think. What have you got details in front of you? When was it made? Because I need to put the era.
2019.
Okay.
So yeah, it was quite a modern one, and I remember hearing quite good things about it. And again, I've seen it, but I don't know why it's just
Really bad
disappeared from my head.
acting. There's
Oh
really
really?
bad acting. It's got all the, I mean, look, it depends. Sometimes you go in wanting all the conventions of a slasher, and sometimes you want something a bit different. It doesn't do that bit different at all.
No.
But for me, it didn't. It was
And
just strictly okay. You kind of know who's gonna, you got your token black character. You know they're not gonna get through it, and they
no.
don't. And I don't know, it just feels a bit.
We've not got like I was just thinking now, and I was thinking this earlier, like the cast of Valentine, especially for like early 2000s, is quite like one dimensional diversity wise. because I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of films kind of, and of course that's why the token black character thing became like a thing, because especially slasher movies, usually
Mm.
would include, you kind of always got like a slasher liked having a sassy black woman, someone who like fought back a little bit, but ultimately wasn't the final girl.
No, yeah.
Or like, but I feel like Valentine, it felt that, do you know what? I feel like that's what it was missing. And I'm sorry to just jump
Possibly.
in
I
it.
didn't even think of that.
I'm sorry to jump in on that while we're talking about someone else, but
No,
I feel
it's
like
fine.
everyone was the same, mostly the same level of like um douche, where you just didn't really care who lived and died. And pretty much
Yeah.
pretty much apart from Angel, every white male in this film, I felt like the same person. I couldn't tell you one trait about them that made them
Mm,
different. They were all
yeah.
like clean shaven, tanned with like frosted tips in their hair.
Tips, just
I
for the
said
record.
tips. I did say tips. I sure did. Sorry. Back to Horn.
No,
All I'm
no.
saying, all I was trying to say was like for a 2001 era like slasher, I found it strange that not even like ethnicity wise. I'm talking like any level of distinct diversity within the characters. Like
Yeah.
everyone
Yeah.
was like the same
When you
across the
put it
board.
out with the male cast in it, especially, um,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think with so obviously Denise Richards plays Denise Richards. She's which we've covered that, but I'm trying to think of the rest of the cast as well. They're all oh, but
Wait, was that me or was that you?
it's, it's those gestures. Okay, anyone watching on YouTube will see what happened there. But
Anyone
there's
watching on YouTube, it looked like first of all you lit on fire and then you turned into balloons.
it's kind of like in keeping with the whole horror thing, right?
It's kind of like
Um,
your thing.
yeah. Um, oh gosh, what was I? With the female cast, I feel like they're all very conventionally attractive. They're not. There's no.
Oh my God. And even the fat one. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like I
exactly.
know I
Yeah,
know they're trying to say that she used to be a bit
it-
bigger,
yeah.
but the fact that they've kind of like again, we will get into it, I know. But the
Mm,
fact that they had her like as soon as she shows any sort of weakness, she starts eating.
yeah.
It's like they're going nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Remember, she used to be a bit fat. Remember? But at the
Yeah.
same, yeah. We'll get into it. Sorry. So Horn, you wouldn't recommend?
It's okay to watch. I wouldn't get the popcorn for it and all that. I would if it's just on. If there's nothing
Yeah.
else on,
Have
probably
you
recommend
seen
it.
any of the Hell House LLC films? Because they're like haunted house experience type
No,
movies.
I don't. It's not really. I don't really like them. As in, I
Yeah.
don't like that theme at all.
Yeah.
I'm very um one track mind, and it's the typical teen slasher. And
Someone's got to kill these bloody teenagers, I tell
yeah,
you.
this is it. Yeah, and as you grow out of your teens and become an adult, you understand it even more. And
Mm.
when you become a parent and, and your children have children, you understand it even more. That,
Mm.
mm. But
Any,
yeah.
any,
So I don't know, to be honest, Ben. I think I don't know if I mentioned this on the previous podcast, but the way I used to watch horror is so different to now, which is
mm.
why I hold on to the screams, the I know what you did last summer's, because they don't do them like that now, and they shouldn't do them like that now, because it's for that, it belongs to that era, I think.
Yeah.
Because I was going to mention hopefully Amazon have cancelled it, but they did the I know what you did last summer series,
Yeah.
which absolutely hated it. I watched it all the way through, but they did it with Scream as well. And it's almost like they're trying to find a new audience with it, which I feel Scream 6 did that. The film did that. Um, but then what I heard
Yeah.
about what you were telling me earlier about Scream 7, um, that's
Yeah.
worrying now that, it's not going to kind of ride that wave for like a new
Yeah. But I don't
generation.
I don't know if it was going to be like the final part of a trilogy or if it's going to be a new sort of thing. I don't know. Um,
Mm,
it is a shame because I think there still is a place for a slasher, and even though like Halloween's not a straight up teen slasher, it's got a little bit different,
mm.
a little bit something different to it. Like those films weren't great either, but yeah, we covered Hell House LLC quite a while ago on this show, and we quite liked it. And I know Andy's seen Hell House Origins, which is apparently all right as well. But yeah, I don't think it's particularly my cup of tea, but it was all right. Anything else that you watched this week? Is that it, really?
Gosh, no, I don't think so. I'm too busy
Well,
working, Ben. I work
well,
very hard. Yeah.
don't say that, and then I list off 10 things I've seen, and it makes it sound like I don't work hard. Luckily, I've only got one thing as well.
Go
So
on.
the only thing I've seen this week is a documentary called Dario Argento Panico, which is all about the Italian directors like giallo films. As a teen slasher, have you got any interest in like Italian giallo um films at all? Because obviously there's a lot of parallels with like slasher movie. Well, it's mainly almost always got a slasher element to it, and I guess
Can you
the
name a
night.
few? Because maybe I've seen stuff that I've not realized.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I was gonna. So Deep Red. These are mainly the Dario Argento ones. Deep Red, Inferno, Tenebrae, Opera. I'm just trying to think of any more. Suspiria has got like
Suspiria, I've seen. So the original, right?
the original, but I think the remake is
I've not seen the remake. I saw the original when I was doing my film course.
yeah.
Yeah, that
Well,
was
we've
pretty.
covered
Mm,
yeah. We've covered
mm,
a few on this show. Most recently we covered Deep Red. We've
okay.
done Tenebrae. Obviously, I think we've done both Suspirias. But yeah, I was just saying. So I watched a documentary all about Dario Argento's films and the history of it. Really interesting. You got to pay attention because it's all in Italian, and so not that I speak Italian, but I had to read the subtitles. So yeah, it's good, and it's on Shudder, and it's like new. It only came out like right at the end of January. So if anyone listening enjoys, I still need to what there's a few of those films that I listed, like Inferno, Opera, that I still need to watch that I've not actually seen.
Are
So,
they on Shudder?
uh, I don't know. I think, do you know what? I think a few of them are
Mm.
on, I think a few of them are on like Amazon and maybe some on Shudder. I'm not sure. Oh, a few more films. Sorry, that I've just remembered now. I've googled it. Phenomena, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, which is still a film I need to watch. And I'm misremembering almost all of them. Two Evil Eyes, Cat and Nine Tails. Yeah, he's got absolutely bloody loads of films. Um,
It's been
I've
around.
I've only seen a handful, but yeah, that anyway. The documentary was good. I enjoyed it, but that's all I've seen really. Apart from film of week on
Film of the
Valentine's Day as
moment.
well. Film of the moment on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Look, can you believe it? We're our fingers well and truly on the pulse.
I
Uh,
think what I missed out with Valentine is I should have watched it at the time because I think I watch it with through a different lens now.
yeah.
Maybe I could have enjoyed it in 2001 too. Yeah, because I would have been at university then, so I would have definitely have.
I didn't know this, right? I'm about to read it out, obviously, but directed by the same director as Urban Legend.
Oh, another terrible but great film.
Yeah,
Urban Legend.
I
Yeah.
do quite like Urban Legend, but again, I think it's because I watched it a
There's a
lot
lot of
younger.
sequels, aren't there? Or is it? I feel like they had sequels.
Yeah, I
Did
feel like
they?
there are. It sounds about right. Probably about
Yeah.
four, I reckon.
Yeah.
Okay, so Valentine is a 2001 slasher film directed by Jamie Blanks. It stars Denise Richards, David Boreanaz. Is that how you say his name?
There
Mary
you go.
Shelton, Mary Shelton, Jessica Capshaw, and Katherine Heigl is loosely based on the novel uh, of the same name by Tom Savage. Didn't know that. The film follows a group of women in San Francisco who are stalked by a killer wearing a Cupid mask in the days leading up to Valentine's Day. He's just an old romantic, this person. I say he could be a
Yeah.
lady. Um, IMDb 4.9 out of 10.
Sounds about right.
Rotten Tomatoes, 11% audience score and a 33% critic score. 2.6 out of 5 on Letterboxd. And I got some choice reviews for you here, Rupa. You can tell me if you agree with these or not. MJ says, that's the person's username.
Michael Jackson.
MJ says might be Michael Jackson. Maybe Michael Jackson isn't dead at all. He's somewhere on a remote island leaving reviews on teen slashers from the early 2000s. Uh,
Sounds about right.
a surprisingly effective by the numbers horror outing with some super gnarly kills. But Denise Richards' steamy spa scene is precisely what so many modern slashers lack these days. Iconic. 4 stars. I've just
As
been
in
thinking
that
that.
scene was iconic or the film's iconic?
I think the film, because he's given it 4 stars out of
Fuck.
5. Now he's mentioned modern day slashers. I'm gonna hit you with some in after this,
Yeah,
just
hit me, hit
because.
me.
So Kylo says this was hilarious, so trashy and fun, and filled with a great sexy cast. 3.5 stars. And then Haunted Hippie says petition for a cut of the movie where the creepy weirdos die and not the hot girls. 2.5 stars. I think some creepy weirdos die. And then finally, Chris says 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. These critics know nothing. 5 stars. He's giving it full marks. 5 out of 5. Loves it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Chris.
Oh, Chris. The reason I was gonna say, because obviously we haven't had a chance to talk in great depth about films for a little while, but 2023, what I think was probably the best year for like slasher movies in a long, long time. So I saw some films that I really enjoyed. One of which isn't out yet. I think it's out next year, but I saw it at Fright Fest. Founders Day. I thought it was
Okay.
a really good slasher film. Really enjoyed that. I said so. I interviewed the director and the writer. I said to both of them at the time, and I wasn't just blowing smoke at their ass. All right, I wasn't. I think it's better than Scream 5 and 6. I would say. I think it's got some very good twists and turns. It's a Wonderful Knife was a Christmas
I
themed
love the
slasher
title.
movie. It's a
I love
fantastic
it.
title. That was good. That was good fun. That was
Yeah.
almost like well, almost like old parallel. It's a bit again like supernatural elements in a slasher movie. I think that's always good. What was the other one? Oh, what's it called? Totally Killer. Don't know if you saw that, Rupa.
No.
That that is a slasher movie which it was on Amazon, I believe, and it's got some time travel in it going on.
Oh, I like it.
That's pretty cool. And then finally, Thanksgiving.
Ah, yeah, I was about to go and writing some notes down here. I've not seen
Yeah.
it, but have you seen it?
Yeah, and I think I put it in my top 10 horrors of the year because I just found it was a
Okay.
lot better than I think I anticipated it being, and it's pretty gnarly. I feel like with all of these films, sorry, not all of these films, but I think with slashers like Thanksgiving, once they like do a killer reveal, I think it kind of loses a bit of traction. But for things like the other three that I mentioned, which of course I won't spoil for you at all, um, the reveals were really like either you didn't see them come in or they weren't like straightforward, if that makes sense.
Okay.
They all had some sort of element to them where it was like, okay. So rather than it just being you know what I mean? Again, I won't say much more. But yeah, so I was just gonna say 4 decent slashers in one year, in a year when Scream 6 did come out, but I would put probably would have said I enjoyed all of those films more so than Scream 6.
Oh, Ben.
Controversial, maybe.
Oh no. That's quite
Yeah.
heartbreaking to hear.
I just think, yeah, I like Scream as well, so it's not like I'm just here
Tell me
saying
those names of those films again. I'm going to write them down.
Founders Day, which I don't think is out yet, but will be out in 2024 at some point.
And then It's a
Um,
Beautiful Knife.
it's a Wonderful Knife.
What? Wonderful.
Um, Totally Killer, Thanksgiving, and I've just thought of another one. A British seaside town slasher called Punch, directed by Andy Edwards, who's been on the show. It we saw it at Fright Fest. It was shown just last weekend at Screams by the Sea in Bournemouth as well. But basically, a serial killer wearing a like Punch and Judy or just Punch mask.
That would
Um,
be kind of cool if it was Punch and Judy.
well, maybe a sequel. is in the
Mm,
works. I couldn't possibly
maybe.
say. But yeah, I think all of those I think it's again a British set slasher. I think it's pretty cool as well. I enjoyed it. Um, yeah,
There's
sorry.
one.
So
It's not. I don't. Would you call it slasher or supernatural? I don't know. There's one. I've forgotten what it's called. It's about a Ouija board. Maybe it's.
about a Ouija board.
Yeah. It was. This is. Oh, in. I think I watched it when I was at uni, so it'd either be 2000, 2001, something like
It's
that.
not Witchboard, is it?
No.
There's Witchboard. It's not because I think we've covered Witchboard, not as a main episode, but I think we did a sort of like bonus episode on that.
Can't
I,
remember
I-
what
I've
it's
I've
called.
not seen it, but I'm pretty sure that's got some sort of Ouija board thing going on.
I'm gonna have to try and remember it. I'll Google it in a minute. That I
Yeah.
love that film. That was great. You know what? It's all coming back to me. Being on the podcast. I've got two here that I wonder if I can weave in to this special slasher special.
Weave in.
Weave it in. One is, and it's only wrong turn, only the first one, possibly the
Mm,
last one, possibly. It was not as bad as I thought it would be.
mm.
Um, because I was doing some research on, what is a slasher movie? Because I think there's so many interpretations of it. Um,
Yeah.
and this is where supernatural can fall into it. And that's
Mhm.
where I'm going to bring up, and I know, oh, I think you don't like these, but I love them. Final Destination. I'm besotted with them.
I'm all right at Final
You
Destination.
want? Yeah. So
Yeah.
so it's the last one, I think, is five. Have you seen five?
Is it just called The Final Destination or something like that? Is that
No, I
right?
think that's four.
Oh yeah, they've done the Fast and the Furious thing, haven't they?
I
Where
don't
they've
know. This
gone
is
The
not
Fast and the Furious. Um, yeah. So Final Destination. I'm pretty
the
sure
death is the killer, right? So
yeah,
the serial killer, if you must.
it was bloody
Um,
death all along. I love the first one. I think the first one's great. And again, it came out in the year 2000, and so it's got loads of familiar faces from that sort of era. And I think two and
when
three are kind of what.
the blonde one in it and she gets knocked down by the bus, the coach, whatever it is, that was
Yeah.
awesome to watch that in the cinema. And unfortunately, um, they're the only seats that are available right at the front. So literally it's in your face.
Oh, you were there.
That
Oh, they
and
don't
when
come
the
right over it.
plane actually blows up, it's so unexpected. And it
Yeah.
was like, what the hell is going on here? I
Yeah.
loved it. Absolutely loved
And
it.
obviously the iconic crash sequence in Final Destination 2, which I feel like is stuck with a whole generation of people whenever they're on the motorway. They just think
Yeah, do
Jesus
you
Christ.
ever, when you're driving and you see something that's like kind of poking out of like a lorry or something, and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna go into that lane.
Yeah. 100%.
It's a bit
And
wobbly.
the roller coaster one as well, number 3. So I
That
think
wasn't so bad. I think the Final Destination was the worst
the
one,
Final
which was
Destination.
the car race.
So looking at the last time I watched Final Destination, I only watched 1, 2, and 3. It looks like I got as far as 3, and then I went, actually, you know what, I'm gonna give up. So
I'm done. Yeah.
I don't actually think I've seen 4, The Final Destination, and 5. I don't think I have. As
So
far as
I
I'm,
think with five, they somewhat repeat what happens in two, because I feel like that's like a highway
oh yeah,
um incident at the beginning from
I
memory.
believe, I believe. Don't hold me to this, but I believe a new Final Destination is being rumored, is anticipated to come out in theaters 2024/2025. Apparently,
Yeah, I've heard many
again,
rumors, yeah, about it.
is it maybe a reboot or a remake? No, maybe not a remake, but like a reboot, like a soft reboot or something like that. I don't know, or a sixth installment.
Well, can I tell you what happens in five? I don't
Yeah.
think you'll ever watch it, will you? So
Well, spoiler warning for whoever's listening, but if you haven't seen
yeah,
5 or you don't
yeah.
like,
So
or you,
just block your ears. So the end of five, not you, Ben, because you need to hear this. Um, um, end of five actually is the beginning of one. It's
Oh,
so awesome when you see,
really?
yeah, so they get on the plane that crashes. So the two, I think there's two survivors. They get on the plane, and then you see the ones
Oh,
from one. So they've used some CGI. So the ones from the first one, you see them getting on the plane, and then him have the main guy having his premonition,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then it kind of like zooms
Kurosawa.
in on the girl who was getting the premonitions in five, and it's
That's
like,
pretty
oh,
cool, you know.
I
That's pretty
mean,
cool,
I mean, it
especially if
brought
it's
it back.
unexpected.
Yeah, because four was really bad, and five brought it back. So I don't know what they'd do with six now.
Yeah, I
So
suppose
I
it
reckon it will
could
be
start
just its own. It'll be its own thing.
start again.
I've the rumors I've heard it's going to be on a cruise ship, which sounds a bit
Oh,
unusual to me. I don't know what I feel about that.
yeah.
I
Well,
need some more evidence.
it's one of those movies or slasher movies where you don't have to worry about the killer cut like the killer dying or the killer like you know what I mean? Is the killer's always going to exist. So
Yeah, there's no escaping death.
no,
Like
there
genuinely, there's no escaping death. But
there isn't.
also in these final destinations, if you're
Yeah,
destined to die and you don't die, that it then death's coming for you because death was
in
escape.
loads of horrible, ridiculous ways where like I don't know some sort of
In number two, when the guy, the druggy guy, Stonehead, whatever you want to call him, and he has that fence thing through it kind of goes through it and
yeah,
slices in these
yeah,
bits. That was just unexpected. Didn't think it would
unexpected. Yeah.
happen, and then
What?
what?
Which one is it where someone gets like a glass window like dropped on them?
Oh,
Remember
that's
they?
the first one. I'm sure
That's the
that's the
first
first
one.
one at
It's
the
like
dent.
a young kid, isn't it?
Yeah, and you think something's going to happen at the dentist because all these things are, these little signs are happening.
Yeah, I hate that. I can't relax. You remember like watching? Do you remember like watching Casualty back in the day? And you'd watch the opening sequence, and someone would like I don't know put the kettle on, and the wire would be all frazzled, and you're like, what's gonna happen? I can't
It
relax.
is, yeah, it's proper. And then something happens when you least expect it, which is what I loved about it.
Yeah.
Um, but I love that you're comparing Final Destination to Casualty.
I always bring up Casualty on this show, and one of the reasons is because it is almost weirdly like an early horror memory for me because I remember watching it and being like stressed, like what's going to
Right,
happen,
okay.
and almost that scaring me in my day-to-day life where I was like, don't do this because I've seen it on Casualty. This blew up. Someone got run over by a car. Um. Anyway, it's pretty much the same. Casualty is Final Destination. Uh.
Yes, that's the inspiration for sure.
So obviously we mentioned the cast for Valentine. I feel like Valentine, as far as I'm aware, Valentine is having a bit of a resurgence in terms of people coming out of the woodwork and saying it's a great slasher film. A lot of stuff on film Twitter I've seen recently. I think maybe it celebrated some sort of anniversary. Oh, I guess it would have celebrated 20 years a few years ago. But I've seen a lot of people talking about it being a hidden gem or a film that maybe is a bit underappreciated. I kind of was thinking, oh, was I a bit harsh on it when I watched it? So I last watched it back in 2020, and I was a bit dismissive of it. And I think it was I think mainly because of the characters. I think as a setup for a film, as a
Hmm.
with the Valentine's cards, the mask, the Valentine's party, the basically everything. I think it's all really good. It's really solid. I think the only thing that lets it down is the characters. Oh, yeah, so I think some of the kills are all right. The characters are all kind of samey, or
Yeah, yes, fair enough.
there's not like a nice innocent person at its core who you kind of root for. Obviously, you've got Neve Campbell, you've got Jennifer Love, huge tits. I got some cooler than that. I'm sorry, very rude, but
It
but
is what it is, right?
I blame Charlie for that because she always says that. She always says
Yeah,
whenever, yeah.
it's her
So
fault. Okay.
it's her fault. It's not me being a horrible pervert. Um, but yeah, you know, in these slasher films, even in this era, there's always somebody. There's always like a moral compass, a moral. What word am I thinking of? Like
No, I
there,
know what you're saying.
there's like an innocence to that person
Yeah.
who, and you want them to survive. You want them to win. But I just feel like everybody in this film kind of sucks because again, it's a setup which is similar to something like Prom Night, where all of the heroes of the film have all kind of done something terrible in the past.
Mm.
And sure, like the opening sequence of this isn't absolutely awful. The fact that this killer's gone after the girls rather than it wasn't the same guys, was it? Was it? No?
I don't know if I made that link. I assume it's this the no, but
I
no.
didn't even, because all the guys seem to be like just random like
It just
douchebags
feels
that
a
they've just
bit.
like met.
It's not like Carrie, is it? It just felt like if he just needed to take his revenge on, was it what who was is it Dorothy? Who was the
Yeah.
fat girl?
Well, this is the thing. We say fat girl, but like I don't
No, I
think
don't, yeah, she was not.
even the kid at the start, I think you'd be hard pressed to say she was. I mean, you know what I mean? It just feels unnecessary. But yeah, it's not as bad as something like Carrie. It's not as bad as something like Prom Night, where someone literally dies and then revenge is taken upon them. Um, it is. I know it's not nice, and it is bullying. It is like,
Mm.
but the fact that somebody's like hatched a revenge plot just because they had some what bowl of punch poured over their head. I suppose they do beat him up and they do
They
strip
do
him.
beat him up, yeah.
They strip him in the nude.
Well,
They strip him.
he had his knickers on.
He had his little pants on. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But still, it's humiliating it either way. And I think even now, if I was in my pants in front of loads of people, I'd probably be a bit embarrassed.
do it all the time.
Do you?
Yeah.
No. Don't know what you're plan. Don't know what you're up to this weekend.
But I have
Uh,
to turn my camera off.
you do have to turn your camera off. Everyone, I was going to say, because everyone's going to be scrambling to get themselves over to YouTube if they're just listening to the
We've got to
audio.
find a way to get them onto YouTube, so it's
You
a
sure
pants
do.
party.
Get yourself over to YouTube if you want to see. We got lovely backgrounds today, if anything.
Yeah, I've got lovely backgrounds. Come for the
Yeah.
backgrounds. Just
Stay
ignore
for the
us, but come for the backgrounds.
come for the background. Stay for
And
the.
the really airbrushed background that Ben's got, it's just mental.
I think it's a great poster as well. The Valentine poster. I think it's like good. Like obviously, I know what he did last summer is great as well. But I think all these teen slashers kind of had all the characters arranged in a way, you know, of importance almost.
In a way
Um,
that it looks like they're actually stood together, but they're
it
not.
looks no,
They're
they're nowhere
not. It's
near
the
each other.
magic of graphic design, isn't it, Ben? You know all
Because who
about
would
that.
I would. So would you. Who would stand? Because in I know what you did last summer. Who would stand all that close? You know what I mean? You'd be like,
I
get
know.
away
It's
from
like,
me.
get off. Well, I suppose Sarah Michelle Gellar wouldn't mind Freddie doing it because they end up getting married in real life,
Yeah.
IRL. Um, I always wanted, so nothing to do with this genre at all, but in Cruel Intentions, I always wanted Sarah Michelle Gellar and Ryan Phillippe to get together, but then it was what's the face Witherspoon. Um, yeah, but it's okay. I was always going in for the two
Get
blondes.
over it. Gunning
Uh,
for the two blondes together.
yeah.
Um, but so yeah, it's not like as mean spirited as some other horror films where it starts off
No.
with somebody either. The fact is, like, I know it's it's approaching something where somebody falsely
Yes.
claims
But
that they sexually assaulted her, but it never goes as far as it could. You know what I mean? Like for us to fully believe that this killer wants revenge, it could go in so many other directions up than it does. Not that I was like, it's fine, but still,
no, no, it was obviously not nice, but it just felt it didn't warrant the outcome, I guess. It
yeah.
didn't push it far enough, I suppose, which then puts it back onto what was Angel's name in it? I've forgotten. That's so bad. I just watched it.
So David Boreanaz's character is. Oh, I don't want to give away the spoiler, but Adam Carr, his name is
Adam. Yeah, yeah, Adam, yeah. Um
Alan Carr.
Alan Carr.
Wink, wink.
He should have been in it. Oh, that would have been so much better. Maybe we can do the sequel. Let's do it.
Do you know what? It's really weird that this film never got a sequel, right?
It is
Especially
weird.
especially how it ends.
Yes, I know. Yeah. A
But then
bit
again,
that whole, wink, wink, it ain't
the
all
budget
over.
the budget was 29 million and it made 36.7 million. So really, like that's not a lot. That's a big budget as well. Like, and it's not
Yeah.
that's not a lot to like earn, especially a film like this. I guess I don't know how much things like Scream
Just
earned.
trying to think in those days though, because the 29 million just seems like a pretty big budget, doesn't it? In 2001.
That is a lot for a That's a lot for a slasher. I feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like in terms of like what you've actually, unless because they're not like the biggest stars, are they? So
No.
in comparison, I know we're talking about one of the biggest slashers ever, but Scream was made for 14 million, and it
One
and
four.
won four,
Okay.
and box office 173 million.
Fuck.
Yeah, that's pretty mad, isn't it?
That's
Um,
crazy.
that is crazy. And would you reckon? I know what you did last summer made more than Valentine. Would you say?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Are you checking it
Budgets.
out? You checking it out or
I'm having a look. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
17 million. I know what you did last summer, and it made 125 million. So like that's like a rule there, and the fact that Valentine was made for double the
Mm.
amount of like these films, and it only made for it, and maybe that's why we didn't get a
The
sequel,
sequel,
which is
yeah, fair enough.
kind of a shame, I guess. Um, right. So as this film starts with, it's like a junior high school St. Valentine's Day dance in 1988 in San Francisco. There's a little kid called Jeremy Melton. He's an outcast student, and how have they made him look like an outcast? They've in my head, tell me if this is incorrect. In my head, is he got like glasses, slick back hair, like
I
a
don't know if it wasn't slipped back, but it was the teeth and the glasses were a bit um
classic
dweeby.
classic dweeb,
Yeah.
classic 90s dweeb. He
Mm.
asks four popular girls to dance. The first three girls, Shelley, Lily, and Paige, reject him spitefully and cruelly.
Oh, that's
Um,
pushing it.
Spitefully and cruelly. That's
It's
two
just kind
different.
of a no way. But that's what teenagers do.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
think,
as you were.
especially when you're like peer pressure, you'd be like, oh, I'm not dancing with him in front of. But the fourth girl, Kate, politely responds, maybe later. Now, this is where I'm kind of supposed thinking Kate is supposed to be like the main character. Kate is the person who we're supposed to root for because she was nice to him. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Um, but I don't really know if it pans out like that. And then Dorothy accepts Jeremy's invitation, and then they proceed to make out underneath the bleachers, which is those weird, like, what is it,
Benches.
benches.
Yeah.
All I remember, loads
Theatre style benches.
in loads of films, those like they get put away and people get like crushed by them. I know it happens in The Faculty.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
I'd never
another
want to
one.
go. I'd never want to go under there. Oh yeah, The Faculty. That's a good one. And I know that's slightly different because it's not really a slasher. Um, it's a sort of like science fiction movie, but I am interested to see.
I think it does. Doesn't it touch upon slashery? No, we're not
Yeah,
gonna
so
allow it.
it's almost like body. What's it called? Doppelganger body swap stuff. Not body swap, but you know what I mean. Budget 15 million. So they made The Faculty 3 years before this. Bearing in mind it's got special effects in it, like there are actual aliens and body and like Fam
Like,
Famke Janssen's head like coming off. Is it aliens? Are they aliens? The Faculty?
yeah, yeah. No, but
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, they took a spaceship out to Mars and picked up some aliens and
They got
cast
some
them.
aliens in and they brought them down as extras. They didn't pay them anything. That's why the budget was so low. 15 million and that made 63 million.
Mm.
Which like I'm being mean to Valentine, but it just feels like for
It's
the money
starting
they
to fall
had.
into place, right?
Yeah, because
That
for the money they had, I can't even begin to think where the money would have gone.
Angel
Imagine a house for the
Angel
party.
got it all.
Angel, yeah. Um, so they proceed to make out underneath the bleachers, but then the school bully, Joe Tolga, and his pals discover him. And Dorothy obviously gets all embarrassed, and her only way of sort of dealing with it is by going, "Oh, Jeremy like forced himself upon me," and Jeremy's like, "No, it didn't." But then they pour the punch, pour the Vimto over him, and then beat him
Vimto.
up. Pour the Vimto over, yeah, because they're all underage and they can't be drinking. They're obviously having a lovely bit of Ribena. Yeah, there's no
Based on the budget,
substitute.
it must have been Ribena, not Vimto.
That's true because it's expensive, isn't it? Um, and his nose starts to bleed under the distress, and that is obviously a common thread. It is a recognizable visual that we're going to see lots in this film. And then it's later revealed Jeremy was expelled and eventually transformed to reform school and juvenile hall because Lily, Paige, Shelley, and Joe testified against him for unwanted sexual advances towards Dorothy. And then he ended up in a state-run mental institution, all for a silly little lie. Okay, well, in my head now, I'm thinking maybe I've underdone it because that would make you want to murder him, right?
Yeah, totally. Make you want to murder them. Yeah, I
The
suppose.
fact it was just like a lie and then everybody else testified as well, that feels they've literally ruined this kid's life for the sake of what? Um, and one of the people who testified was a bloody bully. Horrific. Um, so yes, 13 years later. So this is why it's not they're not like teenagers. They're like what, like mid-20s, kind of.
It's, I'm just trying to think, did they do a, they're not teenagers, are they? No, they're not. They're adults. It's,
They're actual adults. But because
yeah.
I was thinking, and again, it's really hard to tell how old people are, especially when you're watching films in the 80s. And I feel like it's kind of working for the 90s now. Now that it's like, what, 25 years since the
Oh
late
God.
90s. I was 2001. Everyone else looks like mostly young. You said David Boreanaz, Angel, looks a bit older. I was thinking the actress who played Dorothy, Jessica Capshaw. No disrespect to Jessica Capshaw, but I was like, she's way older than all of them.
Yeah.
She's like, but yeah, it looks like when she was in this film, she was like 27. So maybe a little. I don't know. I
Well,
don't
she
know
looked
what the
older
age.
than that though.
She looked haggard, didn't she? I'm
You
joking.
said
I'm
it.
joking. I said it. So yeah, 13 years later. Oh, okay. Right. I maybe missed this, Rupa. 13 years later in 2001, Joe and his pals, that's the bullies, have died in unknown circumstances. So he did go and kill them first, and he's come for the girls second. Um,
Mm. So
Shelley,
those men that are in it are not those boys. Yeah, I missed that because, like I said,
I
I was
miss
I
that.
was not watching it like with
Well,
intent.
I was watching it with intent, and I also missed it. So
Oh
there we
dear.
go. Shelley is now a medical student at UCLA. That is a character played by Katherine Heigl. Um, and she's like in the morgue one evening. One thing we have to say before this is she's on a date with some guy, some like douchebag guy. He has some like
Proper
spinach
douche.
stuck in his teeth.
Jason. Is
He
it
looks
Jason?
like Jason, yeah. He speaks in the third person. He looks like
Yeah.
Jason would like to have a little bit of kissy now or something like that. He looks like
Yeah,
he looks like a ventriloquist doll.
he does actually. Yeah, he does. His
His
teeth
skin
were
looks
too,
his teeth,
and
his
skin.
skin
Yeah.
was all a bit
Tan.
like he had a lacquer on him. He was like a bit shiny and wooden looking. Little Pinocchio boy. He is obviously like yeah, he's just a bit of a dick. And weirdly he appears later on in the film as well. But yeah, Katherine Heigl like um rejects him. But then at one point he just wants to go halves on the dinner, doesn't he? And she's like, "Excuse me, excuse me."
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Which is
it should be halved. Why should he pay for it?
especially when you
What she
don't
should
know
have done is she should have said, "I'll pay for it. See you later," and walked out.
because she didn't like him and she didn't want to take it any further. So yeah,
No.
she's pay your bloody way, Katherine Heigl. Yeah, so she's in a morgue one evening, like studying for a medical exam. And then she opens a threatening Valentine's card in her locker. These Valentine's cards are obviously probably one of the highlights of this film. They're like pretty cool and creative,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
they're not
I
as
don't
good as
know.
like
I think maybe Ben, I think I feel like I watched this with such low expectation that it kind of lived up to it to an extent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one where I think at the time while watching it, it doesn't quite. It feels like it doesn't. It's not very good at all. It doesn't hit all the marks. But I think when you think about it afterwards, like it had some kind of cool little bits. Um. So yeah, she gets attacked by somebody. Um. In a trench coat. Well, actually, it's somebody is like they take the place of the body in the morgue
Yeah.
when she's about to cut into it. Leaps up, grabs her. She fights back, but then she hides in a body bag, which I feel like is silly, right?
It's the worst place to hide because when he walked in and he was opening the zips, I'm like, "You've got a knife, mate. Just go for it." And then he does. So
And he
it's like
does,
he
yeah.
heard me. Um,
But if
and then I
if you're
was,
hiding in a body bag and then you see him stabbing the body bags, you got to get out of there immediately because
yeah, but how was she going to do that? How did she even close it?
yeah, it's very silly. I feel like there's a few instances in this film where people hide in the worst possible places. Someone hides in a body bag. Later on, someone hides in a sauna.
These are the
You know what I mean?
classic places, right, to hide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Places where you're pretty much like a definite target. You're definitely dead.
Yeah, but I think, but what, because you one could say about Scream, these things happen, but it's consciously doing it, whereas obviously
Mm.
Valentine's not doing that, so it's quite different in that sense. So I guess um that's why it feels a bit,
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? Like, I think obviously Scream was like a meta, almost like a
yeah.
send up of the slasher genre, but everything
Mm,
that was post Scream was almost trying to like replicate it, but in a more um honest way, I guess, where it was like going, we're not really poking fun at the genre, we're just
doing
trying to
it.
make it, yeah,
Yeah.
and that's why it didn't
Click.
necessarily work.
Yeah.
So yeah, Shelley, yeah, basically she gets killed. He opens the bag, slits her throat, and of course, we all think. I think when you've seen enough of these films, you know that there has to be an opening kill. But because she was on the poster, I bet a lot of people didn't think she
But
was
for
going to
me,
die.
it's because she was brunette. I didn't think it would be her. I thought she would be the final girl.
Oh,
But
really?
but then
Okay.
the fact that she was near the beginning of this film, it's like no, she can't be. And it turns out she isn't because she had her
No,
throat slitted.
I don't know how big an actress Katherine Heigl was at this point, because obviously she was in Grey's Anatomy, and then like she was in things like Knocked Up and a few other like comedies in like 2010 ish. So I guess in 2001, this was pretty early on
Mm,
in her career. So even
her
though I was
stardom.
saying, even though I was saying, oh, she was a big name, I'm surprised they killed her. Like I guess in 2001, she wasn't a huge name. Um, what
Let's hope
happens?
she's not listening to this because she may be offended.
Ah, she's all right. She listens. She's a regular listener. Me and her are like that. Oh, she hates me. So at Shelley's funeral, Kate, Lily, Paige, and Dorothy, they all get questioned by a police officer who is called like Vaughn or something like that, little bobbity man. Um,
Oh
weird because
yeah,
he's again, even the killer. Like I think if you're gonna throw a different character in there who's separate from the friend group, who's separate from the love interests, a police officer, don't make him a horrible douche as well. But they do. He's
they
like
did. Yeah.
a bit leery. He even mentions to Denise Richards at one point that they've got like some sexual tension between them. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, it's not a great look, is it? Um, so basically they get questioned. They admit to have not they've not seen her in some time because she moved from San Francisco to LA. Um, is it mentioned here about those lads all getting killed? I'm not sure. I feel like there's a connection to some sort of killer pretty quickly because obviously
Don't
the
know.
way Shelley died. Um, but they subsequently all received those threatening Valentine's cards, each signed JM. Who's JM?
Jeremy.
Jeremy Melton. That's his name. No
Mm.
wonder he got bullied. Hello, my name's Jeremy Melton. Would you like a kiss underneath the bleachers? I'm joking, of course. No one deserves to be bullied. Um, uh, uh, JM. So yeah, basically they're all like saying, "Oh, it's Jeremy Melton." They're all like kind of regretful, I guess, for what they did. Like the fact that they all testified and essentially lied just to
Mm.
just it, yeah, it's kind of
Too
like
little, too late.
it was like a toxic friend group thing, or like peer pressure, where they decided to do it. I don't know. Um, Lily gets a card which comes with a box of chocolates, and then they eat them, and they're all full of bloody maggots.
Maggoty chocolates. Mm.
Maggoty chocolate, yeah, and she screams, and well, I think you would, wouldn't you? Um, yeah, and then we get introduced to like some of the like love interest characters who are all essentially just like the same person, but
Copy paste.
different levels of douchebaggery. Like maybe that's the point, but at the same time, like I don't know, it makes this film not the most fun watch. Dorothy's boyfriend, whose name's Campbell. That's a nice name, isn't it? Loves a bit of soup. He like loses his apartment and temporarily moves in with her at her father's large mansion. So Dorothy's like trust fund kid.
Mm.
And even though looking at the child version of her or the junior version of her, you wouldn't say she's in any way larger than the rest of them. But for some reason, this film has framed her as the fat one.
Mm.
She's like lost weight and she's you know what I mean. She's happy and she's like she feels like she fits in with the friend group a bit more, I guess. But she's still got that chip on her shoulder. Um, I don't mean chip because I'm saying she's a bigger girl. That's not what I mean. Like she likes chips. That's not what I mean. But they do keep kind of like they
Mr.
do keep
Mouth.
they do draw into that. Did you notice at the party later on she was like eating a whole plate of like chicken wings.
Mm.
So it was literally like they were going, don't forget, she used to be a bit fatter. She's still got the appetite. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, what was the point of that? Having that as a theme? Unless I missed something.
I guess it was weird, but like maybe it was trying to show that because she had a few confidence issues when she was younger, the reason she allowed the lie to go on as it did was
To
simply
fit in.
because she was trying to fit in or
Mm.
not be the. Sometimes when people are bullies is because they don't want to be bullied themselves for something. So maybe she was like, I don't know, deflecting onto old
Yeah.
JM. Old J, who could JM be? I can't believe it. So initially, the introduction of these characters, Campbell, David Boreanaz as Adam Carr, and then like I guess even Jason to a degree. We're supposed to be thinking, okay, one of these people is JM grown
Yeah.
up, and like again, this is something that happens in like films like this. Somebody like the killer or they will like integrate themselves with the friend group in order to. I mean, in the Scream movies, not always the killer, but definitely some of the biggest suspects or the people you think it's going to be are usually like someone who's integrated in the friend group. I guess in Scream 6 that was very relevant.
Mm.
Uh Scream 5. Scream 5 was like the same sort of thing
It's a
as this
boyfriend. Yeah.
boyfriend,
Yeah.
which of
Same
course
as
you've
same
seen
as
loads.
one. Um,
Hmm.
I actually thought that it wasn't one of the guys. At one point, I thought it'd be one of the girls,
Hmm.
and
But I'm
um,
assuming when it looked like it might have been one of the girls, I'm
mm,
assuming you were you like absolutely not.
yes, because
Yeah.
there was still 10 minutes left or something. So it's definitely not ended.
I kind of got that, and obviously I knew, but when I'm watching it again, I kind of got that because it looks very much. I think if you watch that scene very closely,
Mm.
it's almost like it definitely just looks like a lifeless body sort of gets like slung at her at the top of the stairs.
No, but then how does she get up then? Because she
Well,
gets
I
up
think maybe not lifeless, but like she was definitely like
half
slung.
dead.
Maybe like maybe giving her a sneaky like I don't know, rocked her party a little bit, and then just like slung her just so they could
Yeah.
shoot her. I don't know. Yeah. So what else? Just trying to think. So Campbell does that, and then this is a dodgy thing because there's like Campbell's ex-girlfriend who appears at this like art event and says to Dorothy, "You got to watch out for Campbell. He's a bloody dirty con artist." Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a con artist. All he wants is your money. Um, get away from him. But obviously Dorothy's like blinded by the.
His
I was gonna,
beauty.
I was gonna say his beauty, but he's just a man. He's just a man. Um, Whereas, to be fair, the artist guy is the only guy in this, the only male character or male protagonist, or not really a protagonist,
Mm.
who looks any different, and that's just because he got a bit of long hair,
Yeah, and he's
uh,
artsy.
and he's artsy, and
Mm.
he's into like polyamory or something, and he's trying to get
Yeah,
he's trying to get someone else involved when he's kissing his girlfriend. She goes,
beautiful.
get her out of here," and he goes, "But I invited her here," and she goes, "You
Feel like I'm
sleaze,
watching it again.
you sleaze bag," something like that. So yeah, this is quite interesting because I guess like as the art exhibit thing, um, it's rife. It's a good sort of area. It's a good sort of like location for there to be like a slasher kill, I guess, because there's all these visuals
Yeah,
going on and stuff,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it's almost like a maze as well, and it like a maze of walls
What
and.
was it saying? It kept repeating something. I've forgotten. It's so bad.
It was
My
almost
memory's
like, yeah, I mean it. I mean this was bad. Not, I mean when I say bad, I don't mean your memory. I mean like this was. If I would have gone here to this particular like exhibit, I would have been like, yes, this is fucking awful.
this
Get me
isn't
out
for
of here.
me. Yeah.
It was like, it was basically like a Valentine's Day thing, wasn't it? A Valentine's Day thing, and the people talking were like saying stuff about love and lust and stuff. There was like
It was
some
hot.
boot.
Yeah, it was like a haunted house for me. It was like I wouldn't want what I didn't get it, to be honest.
Yeah,
Maybe I
there was a
wasn't.
there was a bit of nudity. It's not family friendly. Couldn't take the kids there for a day out. So, sometimes you go to like a museum or a gallery or something, can't take the kids.
Not
Very
no,
rude.
no. Well, you
Um,
could, but probably not recommended.
Not recommended. So yeah, that kind of happens. The artist guy is kissing his girlfriend, whose name is Lily. That's Lily,
Yeah,
isn't it? Sorry, I'm mixing everybody up, unfortunately. But that's when I talk about the diversity of the characters.
yeah,
If someone was had something else about them other than being a spoiled brat. That's what it felt like everyone was, male and female brats.
yeah,
Uh, so yeah, she gets lost, and this is quite interesting. I kind of wish that this was like the MO. This was the way everyone died, bow and arrow, because it's relevant to Cupid
Cupid.
and
Yeah,
stuff. The fact that we only get it is just this once, right?
I think so. I don't remember it being again.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
fact
that
that we only
that's a
get it
really
this
fair
once.
point, actually. Why wasn't that
No,
his
maybe he just
tool of
thought,
choice
I'm gonna
or
try it out
hers?
tonight. I'm gonna try it out tonight, and if it goes well, I'll make this my weapon. But he did it, and then he had a really achy arm the next day because of drawing back on that. He's oh
Yeah,
bloody hell, no, no can do. But yeah, he like fires what like three arrows into Lily, and then she falls down a stairwell and
yeah, a
lands
really
in the bin,
yeah,
which is
nice,
handy.
nice, nice. That's probably the best kill, actually. Now that the way you're describing it, possibly the best kill,
I think it's
and
definitely the
and
best kill. Yeah.
relevant to this Cupid
Mm.
and Valentine.
I
It's all coming together a little bit, you know.
I feel like there's a lot of interesting little ideas that this film brings, but it never like commits to anything. It always just kind of
If
goes,
I, Ben,
here's
if
a
I'm
kind of cool
honest with
thing.
you, it felt like um it could have been a student film, not in terms of its production value, but the storytelling, just even like the last scene. It reminded me of the kind of stuff that I would have done when I was 18, 19 and studying film,
Mm.
So it just feels a bit, it, I don't know. I can't believe now, knowing that it cost 29 million, where did that money go? I need to know. I really need to.
28, 28 million for Angel,
28.
David
Yeah.
Boreanaz. He wouldn't
One
have cost
million
that
to Denise
much.
Richards.
To be fair, of everyone in this film, Denise Richards must have been paid the most because
I think
2001,
so.
I
It's
think,
between her and him. I don't know who the others are, as in at the time.
yeah,
They weren't.
Denise Richards. I mean, she was in a Bond film like the next year.
Oh,
So
was she? Okay.
I think Die Another Day is 2002. Um, yeah, so like her star was like, yeah, 2002. So she was obviously on the rise. Do you remember what her character's name is in Oh no, she wasn't in Die Another Day. She was in is it The World Is Not Enough? The World Is Not Enough she was in. She wasn't in Die Another Day. Sorry, I've
So did that
misremembered
come?
that.
Did that come out after this?
1999 it came out, so she'd already been in a Bond film.
Oh, that's where the money went.
That's where the money
We've
went.
come to the bottom of it.
Do
We're
you
really good
remember
investigators, aren't we?
great investigators? Do you remember what her name
FBI.
do you remember what her name was in the Bond film?
I'm not a Bond person, so
Oh.
it was
It was
Janet.
Christmas Jones. Janet.
Christmas Jones.
It's Christmas Jones. Dr. Christmas Jones.
Christmas Jones, love it.
Yeah. And the whole thing was basically she was like a nuclear physicist and they were like, but look how attractive she is. She's lovely and she's got brains as well. Who can believe it? So yeah, two
Yeah,
years later she was in this. That's obviously where the money went.
yeah, I've got to the bottom of that.
Yeah.
I
Uh
think, Ben, you're going to sleep well tonight knowing where that money went,
I sure am.
because
Oh
production wise, you wouldn't think why would it cost so much? But then it all makes sense now.
yeah. I'll maybe I'll
Um,
look into the nitty gritty of it. Maybe there's a YouTube video breaking it down for me. I'd like that. Um, yeah, so that kind of happens. She dies. She gets shot with arrows, falls into a dumpster, which is nice, getting rid of the body. So far, the first two people have been killed. One was in a body bag, one was in a bin. You don't have to get rid of any bodies.
Working out really well. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then so I think when this was happening, Lily was like going to Los Angeles on a like a work trip or something. So I think it isn't clear that she's missing immediately, I believe. Um, I think the police are involved more now, and they kind of agree that the culprit could be Jeremy Melton, and they're trying to hunt him down. But there's like no records of him since the mental institution is there. Apparently his parents were engulfed in a house fire. I wonder who started that. Um, and basically, yeah, all information about Jeremy's old persona is erased. I think Kate is doing like some digging as well at one point. Oh wait, what about a bit where she has to rinse her hair off in the toilet?
What? Yeah.
Something weird happens where like she's got no water, but she's like, I got crap in my hair, like
And
shampoo.
hmm,
And she does the toilet.
that's
She
how
does
you
the
wash
thing.
your hair, Ben. You wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't. I've forgotten completely. I did have hair, but I've just erased that part of my memory. It's like the bit in Home Alone 2 when Joe Pesci his head's on fire and he decides to lower himself into the toilet, but it's full of gasoline and it explodes. That's what I kept thinking anyway. Remember that bit?
Home
Yeah.
Alone. You like making references to Home Alone, don't you?
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
Two Home Alone 1 and 2, two of my favorite films
Wait,
ever
because
growing
three
up.
is when it's not Macaulay Culkin, is it?
Three is when it's some kid nobody
Some
knows,
random, yeah,
and
randomo.
he's not even home alone for the old duration. He's home alone for a bit, and then his mum comes home, and then he's home alone again for a bit. He's like left at home because he got chicken pox. Nonsense.
Yeah.
Any, anyway, that's what happens. She washes her hair. Oh yeah, there's a really weird neighbor guy as well who like fancies her, and he says, "Do you want to go on a date, Kate? I could be your mate, Kate." Something like
Yeah.
that.
Was that to make us think that it could have been him?
I guess so, but he was almost like, I don't know. I didn't take him seriously as being a potential at all. Obviously, he gets caught in the act later. He sneaks into Kate's house. It says here he's stealing her underwear. Is he just what's he doing? He's just gonna
He's just
keep
doing
it.
her laundry. Come on. He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy. He's broken into her house to do her laundry. That's lovely of
Yeah.
him. That's really kind of him. But he says like, oh, it's not what it looks like. I've got what does he say? I've got a disease or something. He's like got an underwear stealing disease, and then the killer, the Cupid killer, like uh
Shows
irons him to death. Hits him with
shows.
the
I was
iron,
gonna
doesn't
say
he?
shows his face, but he doesn't, or she
So
doesn't.
obviously, when the nosebleed happens, 'cause obviously the nosebleed is key to linking this killer back to
Mm.
Jeremy Melton. The nosebleed, like obviously, it comes through the mask as well, and I know that that's just really done just because it looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
I just kept thinking about this character's like peripheral vision in that mask. I mean, we've all put on like a Halloween mask like that and been can't see a goddamn thing.
So you know how we're supposed to, how we were saying you don't kind of sort of empathize with anyone. We found your
Mm.
empathy man. It was
The
Mr.
killer all
Killer.
along.
Yeah,
Yeah, I suppose like all
it's
killers,
magic.
all masked killers have got the same problem, but still, it's difficult.
I think you feel it more because you see the blood,
Yeah,
and you shouldn't be seeing the killer's blood. It should be the victim's blood, right? So
yeah. But
yeah.
again, maybe that's trying to give like it's trying to give a little bit of a human side to him. But never at any point do we think it could be anyone other than this Jeremy Melton from the start. Because if he had a
Because
nosebleed,
he
then this
has it, yeah, at the beginning, right, as a kid. So
yeah, which is
yeah.
why when they try and throw in like a red herring, um, it
Yeah,
doesn't
they should
really work.
have. I thought, do you know what? When that scene happened at the beginning, I thought, oh,
Mm.
there's going to be a load of people they're going to have random nosebleeds, so it's going to make us think, oh, it's that person, oh, it's that person. But they
Yeah,
didn't.
but in a way that could have been kind of interesting, couldn't it?
They should have done it, yeah,
Yeah, even like
because
once or
it
twice, not like
because
everyone, but like
you never watch a slasher like a who done it without trying to guess who it is. Otherwise, what's the point of watching it, right? So, but the worst thing is when you somewhat guess it. And you're right. I personally don't feel like I've accomplished something. I feel like, why have I wasted an hour and a half when it gave it away in the first
yeah.
5 minutes?
But then, yeah, I guess all mass slashers are essentially whodunits, but this one almost feels like
We
okay, we
know.
kind of we kind of know who it is, but
We don't know what he grew up to look like.
we don't know what he grew up to look like. Because they even say at some point, like, "Oh, a little bit of plastic surgery and working out is surprising what could it could do for you." It's like, all right. I mean, if I was going to get plastic surgery, I wouldn't go in and go, "Make me look like Angel, will you? Please give me a facelift."
You
We could
just
do a
want, you're
facelift.
missing the hair, aren't you? The full head of hair.
That's all I'm missing. I reckon that made me look weird now, though. I'm too used to my face now and head. It's ruined me. That's what I tell myself anyway. Yeah. So I think Dorothy like admits to Kate and Paige. So Kate, the blonde, and Paige, Denise Richards, she admits that she lied
Mhm.
about Jeremy to avoid embarrassment, which in a way only really makes her seem like a bad person because I think Kate and Paige just like backed her up because it was her friend, their friend. Um, I don't think they ever knew that there was a lie involved. So really, like they're innocent
They're
parties
innocent, yeah.
essentially. Yeah. There's a weird bit where like Denise Richards like receives a video from like a dating agency or something with some
Yeah.
guy, and he turns up later as well. But again, like honestly, this guy, it was mainly this guy, Campbell and Jason, that I found it really difficult to work out who was who. Um, just different.
Maybe it's the same actor.
Maybe they're just like the same flavor of man is the
Yeah.
way of saying it. Um, so yeah, obviously the killer kills the neighbor. We've seen that, beats him to death with an iron. And now Valentine's Day is approaching. Dorothy, she's planning a party at her family's estate.
Planning a
Um,
family. Perfect
planning a
time.
family. She's planning a family at her party's estate. But I say that though, but I feel like Dorothy, of all the characters, is definitely someone who'd be like, let's start a family, Campbell. Even though I don't even know your surname, apparently, we find out. Um, so she gives Campbell a gift of a Rolex. Is it a Rolex? It's like a watch or something. She gives him a gift, and then they sleep together. But poor old Campbell can't rise to the occasion. Um, he's soft as something soft. He's incredibly soft, and he's dead embarrassed about it. Um, but again, is it because this is all a play? You know, this is he's a con man. He's not really into it. he he's doing something where he's trying to like move some money from like a trust fund maybe into his account. I don't know if it's
Hers.
Dorothy's trust fund. It's kind of weird.
Mm,
Like, how would you be able to do that? Um, she calls him and like says, and his true colors are showing now. He's like all bad tempered and annoyed and like
mm,
rather be anywhere but there. Goes to light the pilot light down in the basement and he gets murdered. Again, there's quite a good little shot here where the lights are like flashing and we kind of see the Valentine killer like in the background
mm,
standing in the corridor. That's pretty cool. Um, yeah, and pretty much even though he axes Campbell to death, um, and Dorothy because he like doesn't turn up to a party. She's like assumed that she's been dumped rather than worrying about him. Where is he? Is he all right? Where's he got to? She just like, I know when I've been dumped. All right, they just vanish.
mm.
They vanish into thin air.
But that's why I don't know. Because I'm trying to think. Do we see her when he's murdered?
No, she just like talks to him through the intercom thing. Says like, "Oh,
Okay.
Campbell, can you get it?" And again, maybe it's almost like trying to suggest it could be her because she sent him down there. You know what I mean? Like if she's trying to
Yeah.
separate.
Because I kind of wanted it to be one of the girls. I really wanted that, but it's JM. Who's JM?
Yeah, who is JM? John
McEnroe.
John McEnroe's good. Good, quit thinking there. Just like the angriest man, just like murdering people. He
With
couldn't
his
not do
tennis racket.
he couldn't not do it in silence though. He'd be shouting.
Yeah.
Uh, this like this is a weird sort of party situation going on. Obviously, like nobody having a Valentine's Day party is a bit weird anyway. I don't think anyone does that today. Did they?
I'm doing it.
Oh
Did you
yeah.
not get the invite? Oh, sorry,
Throw in.
Ben.
Is it in the post?
Yeah, totally.
Cheers. Thanks. I mean, it looks like a lot. It's a lot of effort's gone into this party, and I just kept thinking, who's made the effort? Actually, we do see Dorothy's dad, and then she has like a bit of a argument with the Asian bride of,
Yes.
and what does she call her? She calls her a mail order bride
Yeah.
from hell. These characters, the dad and the stepmom, never to be seen again, right?
Then what are they?
Where did they go?
We just don't care, do we?
We don't care. I mean, I don't care, but still, where are they gone? Um, because
Maybe
I,
they're
I just kept,
behind it all.
I just kept thinking, who did all this party stuff? Because there's like this massive balloon heart.
Yeah.
There's like decorations everywhere. There's like outdoor
When you
furniture.
have money, Ben, you don't do it yourself. You
Is
get
that how it
others to do it
works?
for you.
Is that how it works? Um, it was the housekeeper. Who housekeeper gets like killed off screen and just like dragged into a cupboard.
Yeah.
Bit harsh. Um, this is a weird party as well, right? So I was chatting about this with Charlie where we said in American films all the time, people always go off to like have sex, and I always go, "What room are they doing this in? Like just someone's random bedroom. That's incredible. How rude." Also, the music at this party is like sort of 2000s era like alternative metal. I think like Disturbed are playing at one point, Deftones, something like that. All of these people there don't listen to that music. All of these,
No.
you look at them all, they're all like the cleanest cut. You know, and I know that like alternative rock and metal had a bit of a boom in the early 2000s with bands like that, but at the same time, there ain't no way everyone there is not listening to that. But I kind of like it because it's almost like a bit of
But
a
you know they do that in post-production, right? So they didn't even know
they
what the
what
music was. You what? You bloody what?
28 million on rights for songs. That's what's gone on, isn't it? That's what's happened. Um, but yeah, I found this weird. I didn't really. Did you know how this what was going on? Why was the guy from the like dating video? Why did he turn up? I guess Denise Richards just invited him.
You have to assume that, right? Or we
Yeah.
have to think, you know, is that JM?
This just cringed me out. This whole interaction. of him like turning up and them like dancing together and then going up to the bedroom and he just revealed his
Mm.
genitals, and then he said wax it, and I was confused by that because I thought, what does he mean? He doesn't mean actually wax it. He means that in a.
Hot, he wants hot wax, or he
It can't,
wants.
that can't be what it means. I reckon it's like a new. I reckon it's like a 2001 like
Is it
term for
worth
something.
Googling, or are you scared?
I'll Google it. Is it? I reckon it's like a 2000s term for something like for wank off. That's what I reckon.
Or a blowy?
No, I don't reckon that because I reckon wax is more like got a. I don't know. I don't know. The thought of wax is like also right. So I know obviously consent is incredibly important. However, I didn't understand the point of this scene because it was almost like okay, Denise Richards seems like she's well into what's happening
Mm.
until the second he reveals himself to her, and then she decides, actually, I'm gonna humiliate this guy. I didn't understand anybody's like place in this scene, and also where did all those silk scarves come from? She pulled open a drawer, and there are about 12 silk scarves in there that she used to
Don't
tie him
you
up to the
keep
bed.
you don't keep silk scarves?
I
Or,
I, I'm
nearby.
I just do handcuffs, to be honest. I'm just
Ah,
classic.
right, straight to the handcuffs. Okay.
Straight to the the fluffy handcuffs. Ooh, so delicate. Anyway, I get it. I get the scene. Obviously, this guy's a bit of a douche, and he's made an assumption that they're gonna indulge in some sort of sexual act. I just thought it seemed like she was into it, and then she wasn't. So her prerogative, of course. But she pours wax all over his balls and leaves him kicking and screaming.
That's what he meant by wax it.
Yeah, well, I think that's the pun, but I don't know. I do want to know. I've Googled it, Rupa, but I don't think I can work it out. It's got a. It doesn't really say. It just refers to it as what she did to it. Put the hot wax. There's a whole Reddit page which is Denise Richards pours hot wax on a man's groin in Valentine 2001, and it's got like a couple of hundred upvotes. It's nice.
Excellent.
Excellent. Um, so she goes to like just chill out in a hot tub. She's like, right, I've had enough. This party's lame. I'm gonna chill out in the hot tub in the like in the greenhouse or wherever it is. Um, Dorothy and Kate like have a big argument about stuff where she's obviously like she's still got some problems about the dynamic of the group, and she's like, I'm still the
Mm.
fat girl of the group. Um, that's when she sort of says that Jeremy never assaulted her. Uh, oh yeah, and then the ex-girlfriend of Campbell, the one who said he was a con man, comes to the party as well for
Why?
some reason.
I, I
Yeah,
don't.
why? Yeah, why?
Why
Why did
did
she come
we
to the
get
party?
invites, Ben, and all these people that had no reason to be there? I don't.
Well, I was
It's,
15 in 2001. These mid-20s American uh people, they don't
uh,
want anything to do
I
with me.
just think I just feel like this script was written on the day and dialogues were written on the day. So it's kind of on the fly. There's no
Mm,
real planning here. And this is probably why the characters feel so two-dimensional almost, and there's no depth to them. You
yeah.
don't feel anything for anyone. Um,
No. Like this character, like this could have easily been a character that we're supposed to hate.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, this bitch again, or a character that we're supposed to. She's desperate to help Dorothy by
yeah,
telling her about Campbell, but she's not. Like, she's again a unlikable sort of
yeah.
character for whatever reason. But yeah,
Mm,
she gets into a basically how many wings has this house got? Because it seems like you can be in the busiest party environment, and 2 seconds later, you're in a different area of the
there
house
it
and it's
is.
completely deserted.
Yeah. Big house,
Um,
big old house.
big old house. So she gets
Mm.
like a the Valentine killer stalks her. She hides in a sauna, but when she comes out, she gets like thrown through the shower window and then impaled on the glass. Very nice. Um,
Had to be done.
had to be done. And then he immediately goes after Paige as well in the hot tub. Leaves like a rose next to the hot tub, and she's like, come out, wherever you are." Um, which is weird, isn't it? I'll just be like, "Do you want to be my Valentine?" She says, and I'm like, just be freaked out when you have somebody randomly just put a rose there and ran away. Um, and then yeah, the killer like throws her into the hot tub, puts the lid down, and then he got a drill plugged in with like an extension lead.
Isn't it because she says to him at the beginning, "I'd rather boil to death."
Oh, does she? Oh, right, okay. I didn't even think of that. Is he killing people based on their rejection of him? Is
Answers.
that what we're
I
saying?
don't know. But I felt
Hmm.
like that's the one that, cause, like, I can't connect these characters at all, but
Interested.
one of them, and that stuck in my head, and I'm like, that's how she's going to die. And
Oh,
so I'm assuming that's the link, or it's a coincidence because this doesn't feel like a very well written.
sounds about right. That sounds like it should be a link, but still, I didn't even notice, or I may have noticed, but I didn't put two and two
That's
together.
my key takeaway from
I mean,
the
it's a
film.
shame, isn't it? Again, it's a shame because like Denise Richards, I think would have made a good final girl. The fact that her first instance of
Because
coming
you
up
wouldn't
against,
expect her to be a final girl. So yeah, in that sense, definitely.
but she's
You
like the
just
character who's got the most substance out of anybody in this. Do you know what I mean? Like she's she knows what she wants. She knows what she wants, and she don't say no for an answer. All right, she don't
yeah,
take it. You're a dickhead. Even the police officer who says like he
yeah, yeah,
fancies you, she's like, "Ooh, get away from me,
yeah.
you pervert." Um, there's a few kills off screen as well, which is kind of odd for a film like this, especially
That's what you go for, right? That's what, well, when you go to the cinema, at least, that's what you kind
yeah,
of.
I don't want to see the kills. Like obviously the police officer gets killed off screen. Is severed head is in like the pond. I know we'll get to that. With a very obvious tell that the character is who we think it is. Again, I think we missed this, but earlier on, David Boreanaz, Jeremy Melton gives Kate a what does he give her? He gives her like a Valentine's lollipop, and she writes IOU TLC on like a dry cleaning ticket or something and gives it to him.
That's true
Romance
love.
romance ain't dead.
Mm,
Uh, yeah, so obviously the killer kills um Paige, Denise Richards, drill electric drill through the lid of the hot tub, like catches her shoulder a few times. But it's just a game, isn't it? Because then he just electrocutes her, throws the thing in there. I get it, but it feels like it's too. This guy or girl has got too many weapons, using
mm.
too many things. Just just a bow and arrow would have been absolutely
Yeah, I
enough.
think that when there is more than one weapon, that's where I started to believe that it's not just one. And
One
you know what?
person.
Maybe it wasn't just. I don't know. You just don't know, do you? There's.
Mm.
I feel like the
Yeah,
ending is somewhat conclusive, but then it's not because we don't really
yeah.
know. Um,
Yeah, I think the
but
ending's almost like some bits could be open to interpretation. You know, like in
yeah,
Scream, how there are these like articles or videos that kind of like show you which killer was which for each kill,
mm,
um, and like
yes,
what tells there are that one's Stu and one
yeah,
is the boyfriend. What's the boyfriend's name?
Geet Ulrich. What is his name?
Oh yeah, why have I
Got
forgotten
him.
his name? That's very silly. But yeah, there are tells apparently like which one's which. Like Skeet Ulrich, sorry,
Stu.
Matthew Lillard, Billy Loomis, of course.
Billy Lou.
Matthew Lillard, like he's a bit more clumsy. He's the one who like when they put up a fight, and Billy Loomis is a bit more decisive, evil.
Mm,
He's the evil one. Stu is a bloody silly boy, isn't he?
he was the silly boy.
Give me a stabbing. Yeah. So unfortunately, Paige is dead. which is a shame.
This is the
It-
point where everyone walks out the cinema.
yeah, yeah, everyone does. I only came here for Denise Richards, Christmas Jones. So yeah, the power cuts out. Basically everybody leaves the party. They've had enough. There's no power. What's the point? No
Mm,
music. Kate, they sort of have an argument now, Kate and Dorothy, where they're basically accusing the other person's boyfriend of being the killer.
yeah.
Kate says Campbell could be a suspect. They don't know anything about him. They don't know his surname. Dorothy says, "Oh, it could be Adam because he's a recovering alcoholic boyfriend."
Alcoholic, yeah.
This was kind of weird because this is another element that kind of went over my head a little bit. The recovering alcoholic bit. I know it was mentioned early on, but later on when he's having a drink of champagne or something straight out of the bottle, Kate like proper kicks off. And I was honestly initially I was like, why is she kicking off? What's wrong with her? And then yeah, him being a recovering alcoholic was a plot point. Was that
Yeah, I
something?
think I think it wasn't explicitly, or was it?
No,
So
because she says earlier, oh, he likes a drink, but he's fully in control of it. So why did she kick off so much when she saw him having a swig?
because when it's the first one that gets killed, when at the funeral, when he shows up, and that's a
Yeah.
classic. That's a classic. What does he say? I know we're on a break, but here I am. And I'm like, hmm.
Mm.
So suddenly you're back and there's a killing. Okay, interesting.
There was another weird moment in that funeral at the start where like Denise Richards just, I don't know, had a fairly normal looking top on and they went, bloody hell, Denise, it's a funeral. Put the girls away. And they pretty much just said that to her. I was like, what? What's going on? Um so yeah, we're into like the final act of this film now, the final reveals, I guess. So I think they find out that Lily didn't arrive in LA. Kate's pretty much like, she's dead. So they call Detective Vaughn, and he's like, I'm on my way round. And then a little bit after that, Kate's like ringing the number of the detective. She hears the phone. She goes outside, and that's when she finds his severed head in the pond. This is like the Jules jump scare, severed head, just
Mm.
popping up. But the tell here is that the laundry ticket with IOU TLC is floating in the pool. So for me, it felt like that was the confirmation 100% for the audience. It was most definitely David Boreanaz / Adam Carr, who is Jeremy Melton, right? And it seems to confirm that for Kate as well, because when she goes back inside the house, everything that happens from now up until like the very last scene, essentially, I feel like she's completely convinced as him.
Yeah, because he asked to dance with her, right? So, and that is what he does as a kid. He
Yeah,
asks the girls to dance, and then she does. But then, does she knee him in the bollocks or something? She
knees
just,
him in the bollocks, and then she runs away. Um, and of course, if you're not a killer, what you do is you keep chasing after her and going, "Come back here, Kate," in a weird, creepy way.
yeah,
So she also
yeah.
like smashes his head, uh, with a bottle of like champagne. While she's running through the house, she like finds like Dorothy's room is trashed, and then she finds Paige dead in the hot tub, and then Rufy dead in the shower room. Um, she manages to
Mm.
get a gun, which I think they mentioned earlier, like a gun in the
Yeah.
study or something. Gets a gun. She's like
And
looking.
what's amazing is, does she have experience with guns?
Well,
Because
when later
she
on when they
doesn't
said,
get
"Oh,
it in properly at first time, but then she does, and it's like, come on. How do people know how to load a
it's like a
gun?
it's like a big old scary gun as well, isn't it? Like it's a like
Yeah.
Desert
And there
Eagle or
was a
something."
whole, there was a that whole sort of, mm,
She said earlier, "Oh, don't worry, my husband, sorry, my dad's got a gun in his study," and she said, "Oh, that's a way to get us all killed." And obviously, that is I guess, a precursor
mm,
to the way that Dorothy does die, because yeah, she's walking up the stairs with her gun, and as she opens the door at the top of the stairs, the Cupid mask killer jumps out from the darkness, and they go tumbling down the stairs. both land pretty much KO'd. And I thought we were going to get a moment here, which happened a lot in Scream, didn't it? Where the Scream killer, Ghostface, is knocked out, and they're like crawling over him to try and get away, which
Yeah.
is tense. But no, the killer sits up like the Undertaker. I've got an Undertaker t-shirt on as well, so that's obviously
Oh yeah.
sits up like the Undertaker, and then suddenly is pumped full of lead. And then we look up, and it's Adam, aka David Boreanaz, who's shot this person to death. Uh, and then suddenly, this just convinces Kate that she was completely wrong. She shouldn't
And
have
she
kicked him in
says
the balls.
sorry, doesn't she?
She says sorry, but
Yeah.
I feel like she's not entirely to blame because he was being very creepy.
Extremely creepy. And um, even at that point, you kind of know that the fact that there's still 10 minutes left,
Yeah,
something's not adding up here. So either I thought if there is two people in on this prank, because it is a prank,
Frank. Yeah,
they've got a like a vest on that's got full of tomato ketchup. So when it got pierced, it's not actually blood.
that's just the end of Scream, though,
Because you
isn't it?
know
The pig's blood.
when Angel takes the mask off, he's so unbelievably slow with it, and but it doesn't. There's no tension build there. It's just like, oh, just get on with it, because we know there's going to be more to
Take
come.
the bloody mask off, will
Yeah,
you?
and then it's
Corn
revealed
syrup.
as
Corn syrup. That's what Billy Loomis uses in Scream, isn't it? To make it
yeah,
look like he's all bloodied.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so he pulls the mask off, and it's Dorothy,
good old Dot.
completely dead. Dot. Um, Kate says sorry, and then like says something like, "Oh, but she was so happy not so long ago." Like, this raises way more questions than answers, especially if I was Kate. Like, I'd just be like, "Wait, that doesn't make any sense. What? Why would it be her?
What you
Why would it
say?
be her? It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense." Um, and then obviously Adam is doing this whole explain. It's like he's explaining how what must have caused Dorothy to do it, but we know he's just explaining why he's done it because he says
Mm,
childhood trauma can lead to lifelong anger, and some people are forced to act on that anger, referring to Dorothy. But I think it's clear here that this is almost like a confession.
mm.
Because Adam says, I love you. I have always loved you," which obviously for some reason, Kate doesn't find that creepy at all, and she's all snuggled into him with her eyes closed. But Adam's nose begins to bleed, uh, and drips onto her face. You'd feel it straight away, wouldn't you? You didn't seem to
Which
feel it.
why did that have to even happen in that? It just felt unnecessary because you'd feel it, and
Hmm.
surely you'd be like, maybe that would have been a better ending, not the fade to black on Angel. Maybe her then realizing,
Realize it, but I
shit.
guess it's one of those endings where we're like, I know it ends there, but surely, 2 seconds later, she is gonna do that. So it says here in the Wikipedia, he killed the girls correspondently to the words they offended him with 13 years ago. So I guess, yeah, I'd rather boil alive was Paige. I can't remember the rest. I guess what did one of them say? I'd rather be shot 3 times with an arrow in the chest and fall down a staircase and land in the bin."
That's exactly what
And he went, "That's it, that's it." And the other one, I guess, went, "I'd rather be. Wait, which what? I'd rather be in a body bag." One of them say that. I'd rather have my throat slit. I guess one of them must have said.
maybe.
Hmm. Weird, innit?
Yeah.
And I guess, and it says, except for Kate, who was the only one nice to him in the beginning. I thought he was gonna kill her then, or at least try, but he didn't. Um, so there we go. That is Valentine. No sequel to this film, even though it kind of ends on the probably the biggest cliffhanger of any like slasher of this era, because most slashers usually just reveal the killer, kill the killer.
Kill the killer, yeah.
And I kind of respect it for that because for me, especially in modern slashers like Scream 5 and 6, it kind of frustrates me a bit when you just immediately kill these
Yeah. Tie
characters.
it up with a nice
I
bow.
think at least like wound them to a point where they're incapacitated so that we think, oh, they could come back, you know.
Well,
Um
it seems to me that they were obviously very geared up for a Valentine too. But
Yeah, but it just didn't make the
based
money.
on what money it made, they were like, nah, fuck that shit.
Exactly, they were. Okay, so I guess we should rate the film. I haven't actually prepared any name game because it's usually Andy's thing, and it's only one word, so it's difficult, isn't it? I can only think of galentines, when
Yeah, girls.
girlfriends decide to have a lovely Valentine's time. That could be that. Maybe that'd be the sequel, Galentines. Kate loses the plot and kills all of her mates. All of her mates are dead. Unlucky.
She
So I
brings them
guess.
back to life only to kill them again.
Oh, interesting.
Mm.
Very interesting. I guess we've got to rate the film then. A to F. Pluses and minuses available or allowed.
Do I
How
have to
would
go
you like to
first?
rate? You don't have to go first. I can go first if you prefer.
Go on, you go. I'd like to know.
Just so you can copy me.
Yes.
Um, so I initially, when I looked at my rating for this, it was quite low. What I'd rated it before. I think watching it this time around and then talking about it, which tends to happen a lot, I appreciate it a little bit more. However, what I wrote before was that every character sucks. I said the men are awful, and the women are shallow. Who wrote this? I just wanted everyone to die. Maybe that was the point. I don't. I still feel like that about a lot of the characters. I feel like no one in this character has got much in this film has got much of a redeemable quality. However, I think as a setup for a film, it's still all right. It just isn't necessarily. Um, it doesn't play out the way it probably should, and also the fact it's got like such a big budget, I would have expected a bit more. The kills are all right. Some of them are okay, but the fact that some kills happen off screen is kind of a bit of a cop out.
Mm.
Uh, C minus, I think.
Oh,
I'm not gonna
really?
go. I'm not gonna go as low. Is that really low?
No, it's high.
Oh hi. I don't like it. Doesn't bother me. Like I think it's still watchable. I think it's got that sort of Hollywood sheen to it where it still feels like it fits in with some of these films like of
Mm.
this era. So I think C minus. Yeah, I think I gave the film Gothic last week a C minus as well, and I think similar. I'd say a similar sort of vibe. I gave it two stars out of 5 on Letterboxd the last time I reviewed it. I think I'd bump it up to 2.5 stars out of 5, just because I think maybe because I was paying a little bit more attention, I noticed some more interesting things about it. But yeah, C
Mm.
minus. Why not? You going lower?
Mm.
Yeah.
I think I think obviously it always helps when you talk about it because there's things that,
Mm,
people interpret differently anyway. So where it could have like gone up, it's then pulled down by too many factors, just there's no character development, there's no empathy
mm.
for anyone. Um, Even for Jeremy, I know it's horrible, his life has been ruined, but I don't know. I don't think I was pushed enough
It's
to.
like sorry, I didn't mean to jump
No,
in
no,
while
it's
you're
okay.
reviewing it. It's a real emotionless performance, I noticed
Yeah,
as well. Like the fact is, he could have been quite emotionless throughout and quite chill and just like a normal guy. If we would have seen him really come out of that at the end and like show his frustration, I don't necessarily mean like angry and like a comic book villain, but maybe like if we saw some sadness. Do
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like his life had been
yeah.
ruined by a lie. If we saw some sadness, maybe we could go, "Do you know what? It is pretty awful what's happened to him." Yeah, sorry.
I
You carry on.
think no, but I think sorry, David, if you're watching or listening, but he's a pretty dull actor. I don't really rate him as an actor. I mean, people think
Yeah.
he's nice to look at. I don't. But um, even if he tried, I think the
Mm.
casting was wrong in that sense. And I think I do definitely remember when this was being promoted, it was so much on him. Um, and maybe
Yeah.
it's the whole Buffy wave, the Angel wave, whatever. Um, I don't know. Okay, so cut to the chase.
Mm.
I can't say F, can I?
Oh God, I don't think it goes as low
I
as that.
just wouldn't watch it again. I wouldn't. The only reason why I would have watched it if you hadn't Googled it, again, I mean, is
Yeah.
just to see if there was that link of what the girl said is how they died. But you've confirmed that for me
Yeah.
now. So I like that. So maybe I could maybe.
Yeah. Give it a bit more than
Hmm.
that. I
No,
think.
F is
I,
really mean, isn't it?
I'm not trying to tell you how to rate it. It's your rating. I'm just saying I feel like
Yeah.
when I rate something F, I'm either like so bored that I'd rather be watching paint dry, or like I'm angry at how bad it is. Whereas
I
I'm not
am
really.
quite angry at how bad it is,
Okay,
though.
that's
I
fine then.
think
If you are,
maybe F's
just
pushing it. I'll bump it up to an E based on um that linkage.
hmm,
I like that. I just feel like it's really badly written. That
yeah.
it wasn't obvious. And Ben, you're the expert here. You didn't pick up on that. That's quite saying a lot,
What's
right?
that?
That
What
that
did I not
link
pick up on?
from what the girl said.
Yeah, but you know, I don't know. Maybe sometimes at the
I
start of
think
a
you would
film,
pick that up though, Ben, because you're well versed. This is your arena. Um,
it felt like those things that they were saying were just like generic, silly things to like
yeah.
say, "Oh, leave me alone." It didn't feel for a second that those were, you know what I mean? I'm being boiled alive. I don't know. For some reason, that just didn't. I don't know. Just didn't really make a
That's
connection
the
for
only
me.
one that stood out for me though. So if there'd been more like that, maybe um,
Yeah.
you know. But okay, I'm just trying to think of something worse than because see, I wasn't a big fan of Faculty either. So
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, yeah, God, you're not going to invite me back again, are you, Ben? This is my last show.
Well,
Not
I
having
would
her back
never.
again. She's bloody rating them really low.
She's so bloody negative. Well, I've got no true love for this film. I don't mind either way. If it was something I really enjoyed, then sure, but I don't.
Yeah, I'll stick with my E. E for something.
Ew.
Ew, yeah,
Ew. This is
yeah.
horrible.
I do think
Uh,
I really wish there was a bit more focus on the character building and the or just depth, give them some depth and
yeah.
um things like the murder weapon. How how did they kind of get it wrong? And this could have been a really nice way
Oh
to
yeah, it felt like all the
yeah,
pieces were there to make this a great film. I think maybe
yeah,
when I watched it most recently in 2020, I was kind of I think I was feeling similar to you are now. I think
okay.
just I've watched it again, maybe I've just taken a bit more of it in. I don't know, and maybe seen past some of the bad and try to look at some of the good.
Yeah.
But despite that, a C minus for me is still a below average film.
So maybe if in 2028 I rewatch it
Yeah, yeah. Set
and
an
then call
alarm
me
now.
back on the show and
Yeah.
see if my rating's gone up. Yeah.
Make it set a reminder on your phone for 2028. What rewatch
Okay.
Valentine. Rewatch I wonder if there's a director's cut. I don't think there is. I don't think anyone wanted that.
I went straight in the bin.
Straight in bin. Okay. Well, there we go. That is Valentine. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. If you're listening, if you do celebrate Valentine's Day, enjoy yourself. If you don't celebrate Valentine's Day, do you know what? Don't worry about it because, as everyone says, it was invented by greetings card companies, wasn't it? Something like that.
Clinton's Hallmark.
Clintons. They all invented it, saying bloody Valentine's Day. What are you doing? Um, yeah. So enjoy yourself. Watch this film if you fancy. If you fancy something trashy. I think well yeah, one of the reviews said it was trashy, and it is trashy, you know, it is trashy. Um
Yeah, I think, when you maybe I'm being really harsh on it, but it is quite
as
trashy and
as
maybe,
somebody who has such a love for those slashers of that era, maybe these are like um the ones do you know what I mean? The ones that come out afterwards, you can feel kind of there's no love lost for them, is there?
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There's no love
You're
lost
almost
there.
like watching it going, this is nowhere near as good as these films that I love. And that's
No,
easy.
even though did it cost more? The what was,
Yeah.
yeah, it
Cost loads
did,
more. It
yeah.
costs double. It costs like double the amount of Scream and like
But not
13
double
million
the
or something.
enjoyment, not double the satisfaction,
It's
not
not how
double
it works,
the...
is it? That's not how it works,
No,
unfortunately.
no.
Um, so yeah, thanks for joining us, Rupa. It's been
Oh,
fun.
thank you for having me
Please join us again
back.
soon. Not for not in a year. Hopefully sooner than that.
Yeah.
We'll do.
Maybe I'm just trying to think what could bring me back. If you do doing a ranking on screen, I'll definitely be up for
Oh
that.
yeah, I think we discussed that before, didn't we? But we never ever
Yeah,
got around to it. So we still need to
yeah.
do that.
Because
Maybe
I'd
we'll
like
wait.
to watch them again actually, because I do think when you rewatch, you because with Scream 3 was always the worst one for me, but it all
Mm,
changed. But I didn't want to reveal it. I want to reveal
maybe
it. But I might watch it again.
maybe we do that for 7, just depending on what happens with that film. We'll see what happens. If not, I'm sure we'll find another 90s slasher, especially if it's one you've not seen before.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah,
good to venture out a bit outside of the
yeah,
Scream verse and the I know what you
exactly,
did last summer. Um,
100%.
yeah.
Uh, thanks everybody for listening. If you enjoyed the show, become a patron over at patreon.com/horror hangout. Thanks to our current patrons. Thanks to Taj Easton for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Please consider giving us a rating or review uh, online. And we're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Just search Horror Hangout podcast. You'll find us everywhere. Next week, we are talking about, again, this is a film I'm surprised we've not covered before, The Strangers. And we're talking about it with another returning guest. It's all about returning guests this month. Lucy. Lucy's returning. She's coming back to the show. It's been a little while for her as well. So yeah, looking forward to that. But thanks again for joining us, Rupa, and see
Thank
you
you for
very
having
soon.
me. Missed Andy though. Shout out to Andy. Uh,
Shout out to Andy,
yeah, we missed you.
Mr. Valentine himself. He's probably
Yeah.
out there right now firing his But
Oh
I
God,
don't know. I don't
stop.
know why, but the first thing I thought of saying was firing blanks. But no, that was Campbell in this movie, Valentine. I don't even think he was firing blanks. He couldn't even rise to the occasion. Anyway, that's a nice note to end it on. See you later, Rupa.
See
And
you. Bye.
bye, everyone. Bye.